Hey, I'm writer, director, producer Paige Feldman, and I'm looking to reinvent the romantic comedy for the 21st century. And here on this YouTube channel, I'm also looking to share my writing and filmmaking process with all of you, writers, filmmakers, creatives, anyone who loves telling stories. Today, I want to share 3 pep talks I give myself when I feel like nobody cares about my work and I'm just sad and self-pitying and lonely. And while the first 2 may be a little conventional, the last one will probably surprise you, so you surely want to stick around to the end. Today, I want to talk to all of you who are artists and filmmakers and storytellers, because for all of us, I'm sure there's been a point where you just thought, ugh, why am I even doing this? I'm never going to get anywhere. This industry is impossible and I just can't anymore. For those moments, I always need a good pep talk. And over the years, because I've been trying to be a filmmaker, working towards it since I was 14 years old, I've developed 3 really good ones. And I want to share those with you in hopes that maybe the next time you need something to pull you out of that black hole of self-doubt, you'll be able to do it yourself and not have to bother your mom or your friend or your partner or your writing group for the umpteenth time. Because I know sometimes I feel like I'm bothering people too much. So the first pep talk is actually from a meme that I saw. I can't remember where I first saw it, whether it was on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest. But the first time I saw it, I laughed so hard, and now it's kind of just become part of my inner self-talk vocabulary. If you've believed in Santa for like 8 years, you can believe in yourself for like 5 minutes. So I know a few of you are probably thinking, she talks a lot about being Jewish on her channel. What's with this Santa stuff? And let me tell you, it is difficult growing up in a majority Christian country where you hear all the kids in your public school talking about how Santa gives presents to all the good boys and girls, and then realizing you don't get presents, so maybe you're not good. And that is what this little Paige told her parents. How could you say no? No one thinks I'm good. Why aren't I getting presents? So when my parents heard that, they realized, okay, I guess these Jews need to do Santa. So my sister and I get presents from Santa for like 3, 4, 5 years. And I knew Santa wasn't real the whole time. I wanted to believe he was real though, because like, who doesn't want to believe in some magic in the world? So I convinced myself that Santa was real. I brainwashed myself into believing Santa was real. And it wasn't until my sister finally realized Santa wasn't real, my younger sister, that I had to force myself to let go of the illusion. And if I can put that much effort into believing some old man and some flying reindeer who don't even fly in real life can deliver presents to people around the world, every single country, every single house in the course of one night, I can believe in the talent that I have. I can believe that I can overcome any obstacles. I can overcome rejection. I can become a full-time professional filmmaker, storyteller, writer. And that's what that quote reminds me of. Secondly, I have a longer quote, a little bit of a story that I like to keep by my desk in times when I feel like everything is moving forward too slowly. Like I don't have enough time on this earth to tell all the stories I want to tell and to ensure that people actually hear them and see them and get to experience them. Get it? So this yellowed piece of newsprint is from 2019, and it is part of the Los Angeles Times The Envelope. Right before the Oscars, they interview a lot of the filmmakers, writers, directors, costume designers, etc., who are nominated or in talks about being nominated for Oscars. And this one is an interview with Greta Gerwig, and she talks about her influences. And I'm going to just read it to you. We asked writer-director of Little Women who has influenced her career. And her answer is, the modern dancer Martha Graham, because when I was growing up, I wanted to be a dancer. I loved classical ballet, but I didn't have the right body for it because very few people do. It was heartbreaking I wasn't right for it, but I started studying all these different kinds of dance, including the Martha Graham technique, which I found very hard and very specific. And I remember reading someone said Graham had a very specifically put together body, and that she made a technique that matched her own body and her own way of moving. I think a small part of me took that lesson of, if you dance differently from other people, you can either spend your whole career trying to dance something you're not made to dance, or you can make your own dance. And that was something I thought about a lot. Make your own dance. That part of this quote is something that just beats in my heart, it's part of me now, because that's the thing that I've chosen to do. I am a great writer. I am not going to be humble about it. I know that I'm good. I know my words have touched people. I know I'm funny and create heartbreaking scenes and characters who you can't help but fall in love with and who feel like real people. And for years, I would enter screenwriting contests and get good feedback, but otherwise not advance. And I would have people read my scripts and misunderstand what a line of dialogue meant. And I didn't understand how they could misunderstand it because I heard it so clearly in my head. I knew what that character was saying and how they were saying it, and I knew the rhythm and the speed and everything. And I knew how the answer back would sound. I could just, the whole scene played out in my brain. But that wasn't translating on the page. And I finally put it together when I made Interrobang, which is my short form comedy anthology. I made it because I was just so frustrated with being told no constantly that I decided to tell myself yes. And when we got to filming, we got to shooting, on the first night of production, my DP turned to me halfway into the night and said, I didn't get it when I read the script, but hearing it aloud, I get it now. He got my writing. And for a crew member to tell me that, I mean, I believe it, because he could have just shut up and done his job. Knowing that what I write isn't necessarily going to translate into someone else's head, I had to create a world where I was producing my own content. I was showing people what my writing style was so that hopefully when they're familiar enough with my work, they're going to be able to read a script and understand the rhythm that I imbued within the dialogue, within the plot, all of that. I'm making my own dance, so it might take me a little bit longer to get where I want to go. Once I get there, people are going to know who I am and know what I'm about. And that is, it's going to be amazing. And finally, the last pep talk I give myself, and this one is super counterintuitive. I tell myself to quit. I say, you know what? You're discouraged, you're sad, you don't think anyone's going to want to listen to your stories, you don't think your stories matter. Don't tell them anymore. You don't owe anyone anything. If this is making you miserable, stop. And I sit with that thought. I sit with that thought for as long as it takes for me to come to a decision. That decision has, for the most part, been, no, you're not quitting. But at one point, I did quit. I was a senior in college. I went to USC undergrad, got my cinema degree. I was scared to go into the real world, scared to get a job. I had had a series of terrible internships, and I didn't know if I could put myself through the assistant ringer. I didn't know if I would be able to keep my joy intact. I reminded myself, you don't have to go and get one of these jobs. You can quit. You don't even have to be a writer if you don't want to. You don't have to work in Hollywood if you don't want to. This is all optional. And so I decided to go to law school. I went to Northwestern. I said, maybe I'll write on the side. And I did write on the side, in the side of all of my PowerPoint handouts. I couldn't stay away from it. I quit. I didn't want to work in Hollywood. I was ready to be a trust and estates attorney and help people with their wills and their wealth management. But story kept finding me. At a certain point, I couldn't quit because I was miserable while I wasn't telling stories. I was miserable trying to forge a life for myself that didn't involve making things and communicating my feelings to people through characters. All of the things I love about writing, all of the things I love about filmmaking and storytelling, I realized after quitting that I couldn't be without them. And so now, every time I get a rejection, anytime I am crying in the kitchen because I don't think anyone will ever watch the stories that I'm telling and feel affected by them or have any sort of, I'm just afraid I'm not going to touch anybody. And when I think about that and I get really sad and wonder if it's worth it, I tell myself to quit again. And I don't think back to the time in law school. I don't, try to convince myself not to quit. I just, for those few moments, I imagine I'm done. And my immediate visceral gut reaction every time since the one time I quit has been, oh no, no. To me, the feeling of never trying, of stopping trying, is worse than the sadness and devastation and frustration and feelings of loneliness that I can get from rejection. And honestly, once I do give myself permission and realize that no, that sadness dissipates because my choice is either to live with it and just feel sorry for myself all the time because I'm not quitting, or continue forward. And I want to continue forward happy. And so I choose to be happy. So those are the 3 pep talks I give myself when I feel like my world is falling apart because I'm getting rejected or not hearing back from people, or just am in general questioning my entire raison d'etre in terms of my writing and whether I even matter. It's bleak, but artist and Jew, I can't help it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you have a great pep talk you give yourself or a motivational quote you like to keep by your desk, I would love to hear about it. So please drop it down below in the comments. And if you like this content and want to hear more about my writing and filmmaking process, including the making of Kaleidoscope, which is going to be my directorial debut feature film, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks, and I will see y'all next time. Yes, my shirt is Thanos blowing bubbles with the Infinity Gauntlet.